Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Are you in love? Hello. My name is Richard. I'm your host this afternoon, and this is my first ever podcast. And just to give you a short background about myself, I joined Toastmasters 10 years ago. And one of the main reasons why I joined was because I was looking for a girlfriend, and my mentor convinced me at the time that joining Toastmasters is the best venue to find one. And true enough, 10 years later, I'm now happily married to a fellow Toastmaster, Charlene, and we have a son, which we named after the founder of Toastmasters, Ralph. And right now, my wife is also 7 months pregnant. We're expecting another baby boy. And that is why, personally, I made this as my personal, should I say, mission. That in Toastmasters, not only do I serve the district helping our fellow Toastmasters in their leadership and communication, but more importantly, in, who knows, finding the one. And this afternoon, we have three very special guests. These are the three people that are very close to me, and they found love in Toastmasters last term.
Six. We're
Yeah.
six.
They three couples, six of them. Yes, thank you for the correction, Tisha. She's always like that, mind you. So let's go straight to them. So the first couple I'm going to introduce is the couple better known in the Toastmasters community as JuNo, or Judy and Nino. Now, I've known Judy for a long time because she's from Cebu. She actually dated a fellow Toastmasters before, but it did not work out. So last year, a group of friends wanted to help her find the one, and we got the perfect opportunity when somebody suggested that there's this guy named Nino from Bicol. So what we actually did is, it was so coincident that we were gonna have a training in Bicol, and because I could not go because I need to be somewhere else for another event in Toastmasters, I asked Judy, do you want to go in my behalf? And she did, and she said yes right away. And so we contacted Nino and made sure that Nino picked her up in the airport, and the rest was history. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet our first couple this afternoon to share to us and to inspire us with their love story made in Bicol. Judy Handayan and Nino Karen.
Yay!
Hello, Richard.
Annyeong.
Good afternoon. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. To our fellow Toastmasters and friends. Good afternoon. I just like to correct what PQD Richard mentioned a while ago. I did not say yes right away to go to call. Okay, so what do you want to know?
So Judy, tell us about how you and Nino met, what was your first impressions, how it unfolded, and how did that love life, how did the love developed, in that short stint in Bicol, and what transpired afterwards?
Okay, since you mentioned the background of our love life earlier, I would just like to expound further on that. So it was around June, I think it was the second or third week of June, because I wasn't able to attend the district leaders training in Manila due to a conflict with my job, like conflict with the schedule. So I attended the area directors and area directors training here in Cebu during that time. So after on the during the last day, I can still vividly recall that with Didi Ann, and of course we had Gog JJ, and then I think we also have district trainer that time, Sassy. So we went to Talisay, we had lechon for lunch, and then after we went to SMC side to have a coffee at Tandog. And then it was during that time that Richard kept mentioning that, you know what, Judy is single, we should find somebody for her. So there you go again, the Mr. Matchmaker. Just I think out of the blue, PDG JJ Letargo just mentioned, hey Judy, I know someone. He's from Bicol. And I said, really? From Bicol? Sorry, I don't do long distance relationship. But she said, oh, his name is Nino Care. And then I asked, oh, how old ba? Then she revealed the age. So it's up to Nino if he would like to reveal his age in the entire Philippines. So and I said, okay, that would be okay. And then the first question I asked after asking how old is the guy was, is he gay or not? Because you know who would have who would think that this guy is still single, so maybe if it's not gay, no, not to, because I have a lot of gay friends. Because me, if it's not gay, then why would he stay single for this long? And then Richard kept pushing me to meet him. So he told me that, Judy, on July 20 for the club officers training here in Cebu, we'd like to invite Nino so that you can meet him. And I said, I think I won't be able to accommodate or meet him that time after the club officers training, because I have some other things to do. So to make the story short, we weren't able to meet on July 20 during the club officers training, but it was during that time that I heard the term JuNo. It was coined by then our Division I Director, Franklin Vio. So it was the first time I heard about it. And then I asked, wow, they already made hashtag for us. And then I haven't met this guy yet. And so I think it was Didi Ann who booked the ticket for me going to Legazpi. So, well, before that, I thought about it. And then I said, well, if things won't work out, at least I would be able to see MiAn, because I haven't been, I haven't had a chance to go to Bicol. And then when I met him at the airport, well, I saw him. First impression was, okay, okay, pwede na. and and also I thought, wow, he's really tall, because I didn't think that he would be taller than I expected. So I think it would be Nino's job to continue this story. But before that, I just like to share that we traveled all the way to Naga, straight from the airport. So it's about 2 to 3 hours of trip. So my first impression for him was, I don't know what to call this in English, but first he was fresco to me, and then he was really, really talkative. I wasn't able to sleep during our bus ride going to Naga because he was really talkative, and he was showing me this magic tricks while we were on our way to Naga. So I think that's just about it. First impression, fresco, and then very talkative. I think Nino, it's your turn. Share the rest of the story.
Okay. Thank you, Judy. So now, Nino, share to us. So, what was your first impression, and what did you feel the moment you saw Judy? What made you say that she's the one?
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Am I clear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I heard?
Yes, sure.
Hello?
Yes, yes, we hear you.
All right. First of all, allow me, DTM Richard, to say a few things, okay, in random order. First, yeah, thank you for having us. That's a showbiz style answer. Thank you for having us, and I think you are a Jobert Sukaldito in the making as far as Toastmasters is concerned. And maybe that's partially true. That's partially true that I was talkative, but right now you can ask who is more talkative. And before I continue, please allow me to take this opportunity to express my sincerest apologies, or let me say I'm sorry for the word. Can I see Judy? All right. Hi, Judy. Where are you? I just like to say sorry because she took offense in my remarks early on when she went on the when she went inside the room. So to our Toastmasters here, please help me out because she's actually mad at me right now, kind of mad at me right now. Because she took offense when I made that comment. You know, I talk spontaneously and I mean no offense. It's all in good faith, okay? So Gianni said she sends it. I just want to know that whatever I speak, I always have the best of intentions. So some people take offense, then sometimes I cannot help. I just speak my mind, and you know, IDC. Anyway, moving on. I hope. Sorry na. Okay na. Wala.
Oh, kiss
Okay
and
na.
make up na. We want our
Sorry
audience to be
na.
inspired,
So we can
not to witness an
continue, right?
LQ.
Shit happens. Anyway, yeah, she mentioned the background. Okay, I wasn't totally aware of that initially. What happened in Cebu, and then until that should I say fateful day, that lucky day when I met the love of my life. Okay, that was August 2 at the airport, and this was I was the first one who saw her. She was just at the doorstep of the the arrival area. Then this was my first impression. Okay, and I quote what I actually thought at the time. Maganda naman. That's what I actually thought right there. Well, and let me qualify that, okay? Let me qualify that because previous to me meeting her in person, I browse, of course, anyone would do this. I browse her through her, just a quick browsing through her Facebook profile pictures. Then I saw she looked beautiful. She had that, that kind of sex appeal. Her eyes. I think this is the first time I'm telling everyone this. So she looked pretty to me, especially those pics taken during the fellowship night at the Discon, the first night at Mandani Bay, if you remember. So I didn't meet her, of course, right during the time, but looking back at the pictures, wow, I mean, how come we didn't actually meet during that time? But she was pretty to me. Then when I met her, the 6 p.m. August to 6 p.m. That was a Friday. Yeah, maybe I thought she really prepared herself and tried to look pretty before coming out of the airport. And then, yeah, she was she looked pretty to me that time. Of course, I didn't. No, there was no malice right away. I was just trying to be to entertain a guest, okay, a fellow area director. So then we traveled to Naga because that was the venue the following day for the first club officers training, and I just let everything take its course. Okay, it's natural course. I didn't plan this or plan that. Try to put my best foot forward. I don't normally do that. Okay, I'm the type who lay my cards on the table and uh, take it or leave it. That sort of thing. So I think unless there are questions, it's up to Judy to continue the story.
Okay, thank you for that, Nino. And I remember that time. So you guys were still in Bicol before you, and the whole time, and I remember Judy spending an extra day. So when the other officers already went home, Judy was, stayed an extra day in Mayon. And at that very moment in time, I actually noticed that there was already a connection. There was, the pictures you guys were taking with each other were already very sweet. In fact, Tisha at the time was even commenting, sila na ba? So, Judy, I mean, I just want to know from your perspective. So, you said earlier that your initial impression of Nino was a bit fresco and all that, but what made you realize that, you know he's the right guy? I mean, what made you open up the possibility of dating him
It
despite the
happened.
long distance, right?
Yes, despite the long distance, I ate all the words I that came out of my mouth when I said I don't want to do LDR ever. Okay, so what happened was I think it was because we got to know each other more. It was after the club officers training in Bicol, so we went back to Legazpi, so we traveled for about 2 to 3 hours, and then I think it was the time, and then we just talked, and then on a more casual manner, his being Fresco already toned down a bit. And then after that, we had dinner. He took me to a place beside the boulevard in Legazpi City. We had dinner there, but again, his being Fresco surfaced during that time. I was a bit turned off, but at the same time, I also that made him funny because we were having dinner. I was eating Bicol Express. It's a popular dish in Bicol. So I've been craving Bicol Express for such a long time already. So I started eating, and then he finished eating ahead of me. And then I was, because there were still a lot of food on the table. And then while I was eating, he looked at me, and then he just said, "Wow, ang lakas mo palang kumain." So in English, you really eat a lot. And then of course I took offense on that. At the same time, it made him funny because he was really frank. Yes, would you like to talk, Nino? And then after,
May I?
and you want to talk?
No, depending on our
Go
host.
ahead. Sure,
I'll
sure.
just
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
It's free flowing. We
I'll
have
Yeah.
two
just go.
minutes left. Go.
And then I think I knew that he's the right guy
Can
for
you
me.
spare me a few minutes?
Okay, sure. Just 1 minute because we only have 2 minutes left.
Yeah, you can continue from there. That's actually just the part one. Okay. First of all, that's the first time I was accused of being Fresco. Probably that was just her personal bias. Okay, because she just met some kind of person at the time. So I never, not in my dreams did I try to, to put my best foot forward or to have that kind of air. Never. And second, when I told her that malakas ka pala kumain, that was actually a a good comment on my part because I remember one or two girls I dated, they would order this, order that, lots of food on the table. They practically didn't touch any of the food items there. So that was actually more of a compliment when I said, "Oh, you are good at eating, malakas ka pala kumain." So that was more of a compliment, which of course, she took in a negative way. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Nino. Thank you, Judy. And before you guys have further LQ, I would like to stop it there. And later on, we will continue with you guys. We will continue after the other guests. I will give time for our other
Walang
two guests.
commercial break.
Yes, no commercial break. And one thing that I got from you guys is that it's always best to just be yourself. So, yes, it's true. A lot of women tend to pretend that they don't have a good appetite when they're on a date. But I totally agree with you, Nino. I want women to also be themselves and eat as normally as they can, because as for guys, we will also feel more relaxed and we can also eat the appetite that we want. We can also be ourselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Nino and Judy. we will proceed with our second guest. And our second guest is actually my former boss. Last term when I served as the CGD, she was our district director. And when we as part of the district trio, we spend a lot of time traveling together, going to trainings together, and even travel, for our trainings, international convention to Denver together. And a lot of times, Anne always jokes to us that the reason why she agreed to run to serve as the district trio is because she is finding the one. And all the time, she always jokes to us about certain crushes that she has in Toastmasters. She has a crush in this one, that guy, this guy. She will share to us. She's very open about her crushes. And not knowingly, I was surprised because at that time, Mike never really came up as one of those crushes. So Mike never came. So when she told me last January that she is not, and true enough, her sacrifice and her service as a part of the district trio paid off because she actually caught the attention of Mike during the COT session we had last year for Division A, and she was the speaker in the training, and Mike caught Mike caught her, and so the rest was history. Really don't know much of the details, and that's what we're here for. So let's welcome for MiAn, Mike, and Anne. So share to us, how did this happen? How did you find love? Take it away, Mike.
Who's gonna start? You wanna start?
Okay.
I'll let Mike
Wait,
start.
there are two versions to this. The first one is the real version, which I told you when I was in Cebu. The other version involves me being beside her. Okay, this is the anyway.
Go ahead. 10 minutes.
In the beginning days of her life as district director, I didn't realize she was really looking for the one. She caught my attention when the first time I saw her was during COT1. I'm sorry, you guys. I really did pay attention to the training. I was looking at her. And the president of my club uttered, "Mike, single yan." I said, hot. That's all. I didn't really pay attention much. I never thought that one day we would be dating. It never was very intentional on my part because back then she was dating another guy, right? But
It's more like the way I knew it. It's like she thought she's dating, but she's not sure if the guy knows they're dating.
so I just tried to befriend her. And then one day, is that yours? It's just I tried to befriend her by inviting her to our officer's installation, and she lovingly declined my invitation. Oh, there that woman. But anyway,
So that was after I personally met you during the club installation, President's Toastmasters Club.
yes, President's Toastmasters Club.
Yeah, because during the COT, he didn't even manage to approach me.
There's a
Yeah,
bunch of
you
people
didn't
in there.
You didn't even approach me and introduce yourself so that I would know you from them. And then when we met at President's Toastmasters Club, I was asked to be a keynote speaker and to install the club officers. We were seated at the same table, and Mike there was heckling together with Sassy. For those who were also single. I can't concentrate on my speech. I'm trying to review my speech, my keynote speech, and they were all
What
hit.
speech?
So it got
What did
he
you
caught
say
my
that night?
attention. Right? That caught my attention. Who's this guy? Ingay naman. Ayun. And then after that, I saw this invitation in Facebook
Wait,
invited me to be his friend. That's the start.
Why are you changing the?
No, that's the.
Wait.
Yun yun. And then he started to invite me during their club installation. So he introduced himself. Actually, he said hi, ganyan. And then he liked how I projected during the.
You still remember that?
Yeah, it's still here. You want me to show it?
No.
And then, yeah, it's saved on the phone, so I have evidence. So here. All right. And then we started talking via Messenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then one day you called me up.
No.
You did.
No. Hindi pa ganun. Wala pa.
Okay, sige.
So we've been messaging at least siguro once a month. And then when apparently he invited me to visit their club installation, but we were in the convention, international convention, going to Cebu the clubs of Cebu's installation. And that was really series of installations. So I can't attend to their installation. And then when I invited him to be GE to our club, he can't naman because he has a flight to Thailand. And he said pagbalik na lang niya when he comes back. That's the time he'll find time. So after a month, I think that was October. Yeah. Because September was his birthday. So after a month, I called him again and asked him to be GE in our club. And he said, "Oh, I'll think about it. I'll give you a call, blah, blah, blah. What's your number?"
Suave para, smooth.
I was at hanging. I was at the edge. Oh shucks, he's not available. I need a GE, but I have to give my number so that I would know if he could GE in our club. So I gave my number and waited for him to call.
Yeah. But I had to delay the response.
Magpapayami
naman muna ako. Papayami muna ako.
And
I called you the following day, right?
Then you tell them na.
Okay. It's so hard because you know every single detail, man. If you're looking for advice, practical advice, don't share all the details, guys. Women have sharp memories.
Yeah, he came there to be GE.
I did not know that after that event at SMYPC, she wanted to go out on a date pala.
Oh.
She wanted to go out, but sabi niya, she was in, di ba sinabi mo to? Why wouldn't he even ask me out? Di ba, you were so perfectly made up that day.
Sira, I'm busy with work.
I don't believe you.
And you have lacquered with your boys.
Yeah, we were gonna have a drinking session with my friends, so I didn't bother asking her out. But it was top of mind. Maybe one day, maybe if I fancy the idea.
No, I started recognizing na parang, my age dito sa akin. Because when he was saying goodbye, when his role as a GE was done, so we shook hands and I was so appreciative. Oh Mike, thank you so much for joining us. He was holding my hand the whole time we were talking.
Aba, nagcha-chancing na, first meeting pa.
And I was trying to cut the conversation because I have to move and attend to work.
Really? You really have to work?
And then after that, that was October. And then we just had a couple of messages from them. December came. I was so stressed with work. And then Mike messaged, asked me if I'm interested, how's my schedule that week, and if I'm interested to do shooting range. So I said, let me check my schedule. That was Monday. That was one of the Mondays of December. And then when he said, "Oh, that's good. Yeah, okay." And then when I came back, "Okay, I'm free tomorrow only." What did you do na?
Okay. Since she said, "I'm free tomorrow only," I have to move schedules, okay? I have to reorient my priorities. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any lesson that can be derived from that event, basta pag gusto, may paraan. Okay? So I pushed a lot of schedules. Everyone else became secondary to me. She became primary.
Wow.
Wow, sweet naman.
And then, because I'm driving my own car. He's driving his own car. What I like about Mike's gestures that time that really impressed me was, since the area I think has a hard time. If you're gonna have a hard time looking for parking, so he initiated that. Anna, you're gonna bring a car. Because it's better, we use one car na lang. You can leave, I'll pick you up from the office, and then we'll go there together.
Para wala lusot.
So that's a kind gesture for me, kasi being an independent woman for the longest time, I've been taking care of myself, and then suddenly this guy came along offering to drive for me, to pick me up from the office. That's something really, what do you call this? Something that really attracted Mike to me. Yun, yung pagiging gentleman niya. And I get to realize how good it is to feel being taken care of. He was really attentive. He was really caring. And that was the first time I held a gun and fired the gun with a stranger. It was very, no, kaya mo yan. May himas pa yan. And then we had, after, because I think it only took us 1 hour during the shooting range, no? During the shooting range at Ortigas. And then he asked, oh, where do you want to eat? And I knew there was a bar in the area, Rue Bourbon. Oh, let's just go to Rue Bourbon. They have, let's have beer.
Yeah, I didn't expect that one. Because really, in my mind, I was just going to offer her dinner. But I quickly forgot she worked in San Miguel pala. And I've always wanted to date a woman who drinks. And straight from the horse's mouth when she asked, dito na lang tayo sa Rue Bourbon. Di ba bar yan? Oh, tara, masarap ang pizza dyan. At saka beer, di ba? Yeah, tara, let's go. My kind of woman.
So we had our beer. He ordered San Mig Light. And then I asked him, San Mig Light talaga yung beer mo? Ako, if there's no, I always drink super dry. The best brewed beer of San Miguel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it tastes really good. San Mig Light is like water. If for beer drinkers, okay, for beer drinkers. So if there's no super dry, I would rather get San Miguel Pale Pilsen or Red Horse. So we asked for Red Horse. There's no Red Horse. So I think I had Pale Pilsen, no? I had Pale Pilsen. Yeah.
No, you had super.
There's super dry. Yeah, super dry. Yeah.
So the
Wow.
waiters
Thank
were
you.
laughing at me. And they were trying to find out who's the woman.
Yeah, when the waiter came, they're giving the San Mig Light to me. And then the other beer sa kanya. But it's really baliktad. Yeah, and then we had fun. We had a great time. I mean, the conversations were diverse. I was comfortable. We were comfortable with each other. And if I'm interested in a person, I wouldn't even mind the time. And it took us we just realized that it was already 12 midnight. So we have to move out and go home. And he brought me back to the office where I parked, inside the office where I parked. And yeah, and then we had a convoy going to EDSA, and that's it. After that date, we never ceased talking. We never stopped talking. And that's the history of me.
Wow, thank you, Anne and Mike. I think after this, there will be a lot of clamor to do a second session. And this time, I will ask Mike to be my guest and to give tips to guys on how to make chancing and discarte. As well as
We have to charge
Anne,
money
to
for
ask
that.
Anne to give us a tip to women on how to know more about beer. Thank you, everyone. We will continue the chit chat with you later on as we now proceed and introduce to you guys our third couple. Now, to those of you who attended all the COTs last year, chances are I asked all of you to shout during our picture taking, the group picture taking, a shout for one for NoTi. A lot of people actually would come to me after that and ask me, who's NoTi? What's NoTi? What does that mean? So our next guest is the reason for that shout. It's NoTi. So this couple, I did not know both of them prior to serving the district last term. So I first met them during the June district officers training session in Manila in Legends Villa. And out of the blue, a guy named Franklin Bios just came to his head in our group chat. All of a sudden just said, Tisha, you can be with Nomel, NoTi, like that. And it started as a joke. It was really a joke. But the more I got to know both of them, the more I was convinced that they are perfect for each other. And that is why, despite all their denials that they don't like each other and all that, I continuously tease them, and that's probably why they are the most popular couple who are not a couple all this for the past year. And now, much to my shock, because I must admit, Nomel and Tisha, I was this close to giving up until 2 months ago when Nomel and Tisha, confessed to me that something was actually brewing. And 2 days, just 3 days ago, they became official in Facebook. So I guess that's probably why they are the hottest topic right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will not speak any further. I will let them share to you guys their love story. The one for NoTi themselves, Nomel Hilongos and Tisha Timbang.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
I met Nomel in October 2018 in a Toastmasters event in Land Bank, Manila. We were both panelists in that leadership symposium. I was the district PR manager then. And when I saw him, I had this impression, siya pala yung magaling na Toastmaster. Ang laki pala niya. So that was my first impression. And then I forgot him already after that. Nomel?
That's incorrect actually. Actually, Tisha approached me after the panel, and Tisha asked me if she can feature me because she was PRM at that time. She's preparing for I think for the April semi-annuals. So she was asking me if I can be featured as one of the 10 district leaders who would encourage members to renew. So I readily said yes because that time I already knew Tisha from a distance. So I know her to be a very good evaluator, a very good Toastmaster. She's a member of Butter and Toast, one of the best clubs in the Philippines. They claim allegedly that they are the club of champions. I don't know how that happened. So when she asked me that if she can feature me, I said yes, because that's an opportunity to know her better. I know her to be the Lauren Legarda look-alike, so I thought that this is going to be one intelligent woman that Tisha would be very interesting to know. Yun, kaso promises are meant to be broken eh. She didn't contact me. Nakakainis.
So there, for the past 2 years, my goal was very clear. I wanted to be a DTM. And I keep telling people that, I wanted to be a DTM. And DTM for me was destined to be married. I really wanted to be married very soon. So I didn't really search well, but I always had in mind in my fantasy that my eyes were set on a Denzel Washington look-alike. So, imagine Denzel Washington to be that tall, that dark, Christian, and good-looking guy. And then, Nomel.
Yep, I think I check a number of boxes there naman Tisha, di ba? So, Christian, check. Dark, I'm trying to darken my skin, so check. No longer mestizo. What? Good looking? Yes. My mother would insist that I'm good looking. And I think every Cebuano guy would say, yes, we are always good looking, regardless. And plus, if you're looking for Denzel Washington naman, I think I have a better beard than Denzel. So I check all the marks, Tisha. Plus, if you're looking for a Washington, I've been to Washington and I do observe Washington. So I can wash my own clothes. I have my washing machine. So I think I check all the marks. And besides,
Okay.
Denzel Washington is just an actor. I am more
And
than
you are? You are?
a Toastmaster.
Yeah. So in June 2019, I met him again. And this time we were in Legend Hotel, as Richard mentioned. So this time I was already division and director, and he was now my successor, the PR manager. So after that event, I messaged in the group chat of the district leaders, "Oh, no, Mel, I think you're doing a great job." I gave him a compliment because, it was very clear to him what his plan was. And then when I gave that compliment, Franklin teased me immediately. So that's how Naughty started. No, Mel?
But I think it's God's plan na rin that all this would come to fruition. Kasi I think I became PRM so that I can be closer to Tisha. When Richard and Franklin were trying to tease us, I think I would not budge simply because I strongly believe against conflict of interest. Since I am the current PRM and Tisha was division and director at the time, I felt that if I will be close to Tisha, the other division directors and other district leaders might feel that I'm being very cozy and close to Tisha to the disadvantage of other leaders. So I have to be fair to everybody. So I tried to resist all efforts of Richard and Franklin to push us together. In fact, I'll tell you something. Richard even talked to me around July or August last year. He was bugging me to come up with this comics type of public relations campaign featuring Tisha and myself. So I even told Richard, ano ka, bakit naman gagawin yun? Bakit gagawa ko ng feature? Why Tisha and myself? Pero true to tell, it was actually a nakakakilig na idea. So I figured out it's a good opportunity then to know Tisha while trying to delay the inevitable. So I used my role as PRM and I used her role as my predecessor and invited her to meet. Imagine that was I think September na Tisha. So we met in
October. Yeah.
Alabang, October. We met in Alabang in October under the guise of succession meeting. So we had our succession meeting in Alabang in October. But
Yeah.
it was actually meant to just get to know the lady.
Yeah, and then Nomel is he's highly competent, and I didn't really know that he's an influential guy in Middle East. But I would normally go to Nomel because I know that when I ask him any question about Toastmasters, he will be able to give me the answer. So that was really about it. I would go call him starting January, February, March, and then I noticed that sometimes my our calls would last for an hour, and
Two
the
hours,
talk was not just what.
2 hours, 3 hours. There was even a 4 hour session.
Yeah, but that was the latter part. But during around March, when I would ask him questions, I noticed that it was not just about Toastmasters. We were talking about music. We were talking about Middle East because when I was young, I was in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, from elementary to college. So we had that common ground. We had that Arab connection. So that made our conversation more interesting. We both wanted shawarma and the Middle East. So there, after that, around April, May, during the lockdown, that was when we got really closer. I don't know. But from Toastmasters, I noticed that we were talking more often about other things. And around May, that was when we got really close. Um, Around May 18, May 19, we were talking as long as 4 hours, 3 hours. And then one time the Zoom meeting happened with the ladies of District 75, and that was when we were cornered. We were put on the spot, and
It
we
was a
had the
trap.
fast talk. No, Mel?
Yeah, it was crazy. That was a crazy fast talk. I was tricked by the ladies of District 75. I'd like to name all of them to get even. Imagine they asked me to attend this ladies meeting and asked me to wear a hat. So I wore this. I don't have a hat at home. So I have this party hat, yung pink, yung kulay pink. So that's what I wore. I worn. Imagine asking me questions about love and Tisha with that big hat on my head. That was crazy. But I think it was also the reason why Didian, Jazz, JJ, Leah, and some other a number of other
Many,
leaders, yeah, were convinced
yeah.
that I am serious and I'm serious with my answers. Kasi di ba? Imagine a guy talking about love and relationships wearing that party hat. Baboy pa of all characters. So
Yeah.
guys, tip, just be yourself lang. Be crazy. Sometimes in our craziness, ladies would discover our manliness.
Yeah, but when we had that fast talk, Nomel, I was really blown away by your impromptu speaking. That's why I tell people na daan ako sa table topics mo. He was really so good. I mean, when he was asked about the three question, when Richard asked him, di ba Nomel, crush mo na siya last year pa? So that was the first question. And then the second question was, do you want to be a part of the family of Tisha? That was the second question. And then I wanted to
He
bury
told you
myself, huh?
they remember everything. If not, they have notes.
Yeah, I put that in my diary, all your answers. Because I wanted to remember that memory. But I was really blown away with your answers and I was really impressed. And then after that, I got to discover more about Nomel. I discovered how beautiful his soul is when we converse, when we talk every night. And I also discovered so many things like how influential he is in the Middle East. And the most part that I love about Nomel is his kindness. I mean, I cannot imagine another guy having that soul, so loving, so kind. And that was really what swept me away. I mean, thinking about him.
And the same is true with Tisha. Tisha, I think, is the perfect example of a woman. She's faithful, she's compassionate, she's patient, she's courageous. And the fact that Tisha takes care of her parents is more than enough proof that this is a lady that you can proudly bring home and call your wife.
So I wanted to say what I wrote in Facebook, Nomel. When God wrote our love story, he spiced it up with humor. I asked for a Denzel Washington and he gave me you, the grizzly bear. And during this love story, there were moments of levity, riot. Imagine having heckling friends teasing you every single day of the year. That was really crazy. But it came to a point when we just had to cave in to NoTi because we know for a fact that this is a love story that God wrote and not just us. It was really a love story written by God.
Amen. I agree. I agree. No comment.
Okay, thank you.
Resign ako dyan sa...
You know, Nomel and Tisha,
yeah, na.
listening to both of you right now, it's as if I am listening to your wedding vows. No, to be honest, kasi like listening to your words, I know both of you, you're always gonna be preparing everything. It's very scripted, and I feel like you're already writing your wedding vows. So when everything is normalized, I hope I will be flying to Manila soon and be attending the wedding.
Meet ba natin si Richard?
Ha?
Yeah, he's a ninong.
Wag naman, you're both older than me.
Okay, ring bearer, ring bearer.
there.
Ring bearer, yan. Ay, bagay ako dyan, especially with my new hair. So, ladies and gentlemen, now's the time for us to be entertaining questions. So, those of you who are watching us through Facebook Live, please key in your questions for our couple, what you want to learn and what you want to ask from them, as well as those joining us here in Zoom. Please type your questions in the chat box. So, I'll go for the first question. Earlier, Jot asked, and this is for Judy. And I think Jot's question was, Judy, are you ready to move in to Bicol for good?
Okay, yes, of course. I am more than ready to move into Bicol because few months ago, right now I am already not. I am already unemployed because I resigned from my job in April, getting ready to be married and to settle down in Bicol. And just to give you a little bit of a background, what made me realize that Nino is the one for me, because when he started talking about marriage right after I went back to Cebu, we practically talk every day. So he mentioned about marriage. We were not yet official that time. And then that was the time I told myself, wow, if I'm gonna marry this guy, I'd be relocating to Bicol. So I think that was it for me, because I decided to just relocate and live my life here in Cebu just to be with him. So yes, I am more than ready to move to Bicol. And please, please, especially the people of Cebu, stop being hard-headed so that I can already fly to Legazpi and meet him.
Okay, thank you. And here's a question for everyone from Rizni. So she's asking, how long was the courtship before you guys decided to be official? So let's start with MiAn.
Was there even a courtship?
Yes naman.
Like a few hours.
No naman. Tita Tisha, ikaw talaga. Hindi. You're so much. Okay, here's the thing. We dated for 1 week. That was 1 week. After 1 week, that was the night of the morning of December 24. December 24. We didn't even know the date was already 24. I just said yes. That was the second, actually the first time he asked me, that was our
Second date.
second date. That was second date. But prior to second date, since we had that firing range experience, we never ceased talking, right? So when we had our second date and then he asked me, I said no. I didn't say yes first because I told him we might.
Nagpakipot mo na.
Oh, no. I wanted to make sure. I mean,
She was stalking. She was spying.
no. Because I know for myself, when I commit, I'm committed. So
And I'm not.
no. But I want to think about it really well because I know how busy my schedule is serving as the district director, and then I have work and I have my daughter to attend to as well. You know, a lot of commitments are running on my head, and if Mike can tolerate all of it or can bear it, that's something that I want him to think of before he jumps in a relationship with me. And then so I said no at first. When he asked me the following week, and he said, I will not let this moment go until you say yes. I'm ready to accept you. I'm ready to love everything about you. If you want to keep us secret, our relationship in secret first because you're worried about your position or responsibility, I'm willing to be in the background. That's what he said, and that's something that made me say yes.
Besides the fact that she couldn't say no because we were. It was.
Uh,
It was. I held her in hostage.
it was 1 week. Was 1 week. Well, what can I say? It's not how long you said yes or how long the courtship really. It's how long you keep the relationship.
Yeah, and when you feel when you feel that the person is the right one for you, you can always rely on your instincts.
Mm.
If the person is right for you, and when you sense that the person is right, don't wait too long and start acting on it. Who cares if they say no for the first time? There's always a second time, a third time, a fourth time. You can always find ways.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Si Mike talaga, parang BDO. We find
We find ways.
Always.
Next, let's ask Nomel, Tisha, Noti. So, how long was the courtship?
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
you want me to start now, Mel?
Sige,
Yeah,
sige.
go. Well, around May 18, after that Zoom meeting, that was when we talked about the friendship that is evolving into something else. So I asked him, how do you want us to move forward with this? Kasi he's saying na it's an evolving friendship, it's an evolving relationship. And then he told me the very beautiful words, let us move forward with to the right direction, but let's not preempt God God's plan. So that's what he said. And I think that was the technically the start of the courtship around May 21, if I'm not mistaken, Nomel, right? And then we formalized it when we saw each other 3 days ago.
Wow.
But
Yes, very well publicized.
Nomel? Yeah.
no, I agree with Tisha. Pero my take on this naman is that when it's true love, dates are not really important. What is important is that you know and you realize that what you're going to share with this other person is a lifelong days and evenings of beautiful memories. So you no longer have to worry about when did this start or when did this become official, because what is important is that from here on you are now two individuals who's trying to live as one, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about
Ah,
relationships.
thank you, Pastor Nomel. You look like a pastor in your outfit.
Yeah, yeah.
How about Judy? Judy, how long was the courtship?
Sabi nga, kami maging pastor na ako.
You will be.
You talk like a pastor. You look like a pastor. Go, Judy.
Yeah, I think for the courtship, there was no official courtship, but we have been talking and over the phone, messaging each other for few weeks. That would be less than a month before we finally agreed. And actually, we agreed on a specific date 1 month before, 1 month after that we officially met, but it didn't happen. So I think Nino would share. It's weeks, right? It's 3 weeks. So there
Yes,
was
thank
no.
you,
I
Judy.
think
I'm sure Nino
how
will
long
not
it took.
disagree, or else there might be another LQ later on. Next question. There's a question from Z. So while Judy is spotlighted, this should be. I'll go first with Judy. How do you guys separate your relationship as Toastmasters versus the romantic relationship?
Wow. First, I think first thing is that you need to know your boundaries as a couple, because I have this OC when it comes to Toastmasters meetings or with something about leadership. So I always ask Nino, what do you do? What about your role like this and that? And the entire proceeding of our meetings or their meetings. So I think the best way to deal with it is just to let your partner deal with deal with his role on his own. Just maybe you can ask him if he needs help or something like that. But I learned that I should not overstep on his role para walang gulo. Agree, Nino?
Okay, thank you, Judy.
Right? Yeah,
Yes,
if
Nino.
I may say so, I think we we Toastmasters should never separate our personal lives with that of Toastmasters. I think it's going to be a big mistake, and I think that's the reason why we're having this webcast in the first place. That we Toastmasters are actually in the perfect place to find love, simply because we are already with people with whom we share the same thoughts, the same mindsets, the same preferences. We are all committed to improvement on a whether on a personal level or a professional level. So if we find love in Toastmasters, that's a bonus. And if you do find love in Toastmasters, do not separate your love life from that of Toastmasters, because doing so will only complicate things. I think love and relationship is a very simple, beautiful thing that does not require complications. A lot of people actually get separate ways simply because they're trying to complicate things. In my case and siya,
Thank you,
that's
Pastor
why we have
Norman.
to wait until now, di ba? Para siguradong mas maayos.
That Nobel, you should talk to Nino about it.
Sige, sige. To quote DJ, sige.
Thank you, Pastor Nomel. And I totally agree. I think one of the beauty of being in Toastmasters is because we are all asked to do a lot of roles. In club meetings, we're asked to deliver speeches in which we're encouraged to express ourselves. In officers' roles, we're asked to work with each other. In the district, we're also asked to work with different people. And in doing so, we're kind of expressing ourselves, we're kind of showing. And I think that's one of the advantages of finding love here in Toastmasters is because if you notice about our three couples, there are no stage of pretense. When during their first date, they're already showing who they are because there's no point of hiding it. People know who you are in Toastmasters, the way you lead, the way you act, the way you do your job as an officer or as a Toastmaster itself, the way you prepare for your speeches, the way you prepare for your roles, and that shows. And that's one thing that I really liked uh, about it. So next, we'll ask Anne first. You're a district director, so last term. So did that ever conflict at all with your relationship with Mike?
Yeah.
Mamamali ka ng pangalan. It's Mike, not Mark. Mark is our admin.
You need to
Mark,
be-
no, Mark is your personal driver. I know.
Okay. Conflict, you mean conflict in terms of work and yeah. I mean, we just
Do you separate?
separate. Separate.
No,
No,
not really.
no.
It's
No.
just like Normal mentioned.
Mhm.
You don't separate one for the other.
Mhm.
You think. Let me explain this. I met Anne through an event in Toastmasters, and right about that time, she was serving as district director. I knew how maybe I knew how busy that can get, and I just I felt okay. If we're going to have this kind of relationship, I might as well take you as an entire package, regardless of how busy the schedule would look like. And if necessary, I might have to hide myself in the background uh, until she ends her term. But as it turns out, it didn't happen that way. But the point here is that I completely agree with Norma because much our relationship we owe it to Toastmasters. We owe it to the organization. While indeed it is a bonus that you find love in Toastmasters, it is in the diligence and the execution of your own respective roles that you find your one true love along the way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. And here's a fast talk question to everybody. So somebody asked, Ramsey, what is your term of endearment? Yeah. So let's start with Anne and Mike.
You
It's honey. Actually, everything so that we won't miss anything.
it's honey, but it's spelled
Honey,
differently.
yeah, HUNNY. Sometimes I will call him hubby, and he will
Wow.
the wifey, mahal, yan. Those were the pet names.
Ay, happy na. So, may date na ba?
Wala pa.
Wala pa rin. Paano malalaman nyo?
Excited kayo.
Okay, Tisha and Nomel. What's
I,
your...
Toastmaster Tisha.
no. I call him darling. That's my term of endearment.
Hindi pala
And
grizzly bear.
no, yeah, that's the other name. But kapag kami lang, I call him darling. And he calls me dear, right? Oh, yeah.
Oh. About Judy and Nino?
Nino, you talk.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity.
Please don't give him the opportunity.
Please prepare the timer.
Of course, normally it's the usual. Maybe because of we didn't want to think of other fancy words. It's the usual baby. Okay, and sometimes on rare occasion it's Mr. Kare, Mrs. Kare. That's it.
Wow. That's so sweet. Mrs. Karen na pala. Okay, so I have some serious questions. I'll start with Nomel and Tisha. So this, because I don't see any other questions here anymore. So my first question is to Tisha. So last year, when every time I call Tisha and I will try to convince her to consider Nomel, one of her reservation has always been, she always tells me that she's afraid of Nomel's health. She always says that one of her concern or reservations about Nomel is his health, his heart problem, and she's afraid na maaga siyang maging byuda.
You can say that?
Tisha, yeah, you told me that. So Tisha, I just want to know what changed. I mean, what changed your mind? How did Nomel change?
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah, at the moment I got his commitment, it's still a concern, but when you know the situation, you just have to journey with the person, make sure that he's diligent, he's disciplined with his lifestyle, and I think I got his commitment for that. So it's no longer an issue, but hopefully he'll be healthier, right? Darling?
Yes. You.
Nomel, did Tisha let you sign a promissory note that you will eat X number of vegetables only per day?
No, he's only eating apples now.
Hindi naman. And I mean, you might not believe it, but I actually have a very healthy lifestyle. It's just that I'm pretty sick lang siguro talaga. Pero I've been on this healthy plan and diet naman eh. It's just that the problems are so complicated. But with Tisha around, I think I now have a firmer resolve to be well. Of course, you don't want to die on your love, di ba? So I think love also is a perfect reason for a person to fight and to survive.
Thank you, Nomel. That's very sweet of you. And indeed, one thing I noticed, by the way, is the past few months you lost a lot of weight. You look better now, really. You look so much slimmer, and I guess being inspired by Tisha or being forced by Tisha is
Inspired.
doing you well. Doing you well. Now, my next serious question is for Anne and Mike. Both of you have been previously married, and I know both of you are already annulled. And what gives you the courage to give love another chance? Because I have friends who are annulled was heartbroken in the past, and they're very close-minded when it comes to finding a new relationship anymore. So, what can you share to our viewers who had a similar experience, and and just tell them what made you give love another chance?
The first thing that you have to do is to try to understand and go through the process. Okay, so I've been annulled. I got married once, and I went through the process of heartbreaks and all, and that made me know myself better and made me love myself well, so that I know what I get to determine what I really want. And from that day on, after the last relationship, after the
That's because that there was a lot.
you know, because I was trying to find the one guy. After that last part before Mike, I really wrote down the qualities of the guy that I really wanted. I wrote it down one by one. I wrote it like a prayer, and I will chant that. Not chant. I will pray for it. I will read it every night. It's like a chant. I will read it every night, and then I got tired. I said, okay, ayoko na. I gave up. I give up. I give up. If it's time, it's time. If not, I'm okay. I'll be fine. And then he suddenly came along. And I think he came along at the right time, at the right moment, wherein I get to learn my lessons well. And I knew what I wanted, what I really wanted to have and to hold. And yeah, I mean, I just trusted the process. I just trusted the process. Opened myself to anything that can happen. Because life is short. Now we have COVID, it's shorter. We have each other, right? So just give it a chance. Just give it a chance. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to love, to get hurt, but make sure you love yourself better. Because only you would know how to deal with it. Determine what you really
Yeah.
want.
Actually, I look at it this way. In love and in life, whether you like it or not, you're gonna fail. That's the way life is. You're gonna fail at something, especially when you have a goal. The more goals you have, the more you move toward your goals, you not naturally fail along in the process, and that's the same in love. And that's just part of the experience, the journey. It's a nice story, actually, when you think about it. Anne had Anne had a string of relationships
And
before.
so is Mike. Mas more si Mike.
Okay. I had a few, pero they pale by comparison. I was just playing around. Pero siya talaga,
Ano?
wala. So anyway, how do you know if you're gonna find the right one if you don't go out there and experience the process? Kasi ang failure naman talaga nandyan eh. You cannot avoid it. It's just part of life. That's just how it is. And the sooner you embrace that possibility, the easier things will be for you.
And
Yes.
surprisingly lang, just to share, what I wrote down 2 years ago, when I opened that again, nakabi na ni Mike, it's the two of us. It's all the traits that I wanted and all the traits that I saw in my Mike and only.
Promise.
Yeah. And ito yung surprising. Apparently, Mike also has a list.
Mhm. By the way, yeah, that's very important. It really
Mhm.
works. You need to write down the specifics of what you want
What you want.
and look at it every day and affirm, live it, experience it. Because there's some people who say, I will be married one day. No, just say, I'm married today. I'm married right now. Affirm.
Affirm.
Accept it because that's God's blessing entering your life already. And I know that for a fact. I learned a lot from my good friend Janice.
Thank you. And just a follow-up question to Mike. This is something also that that's been asked to me. So sometimes I talk to a lot of leaders in Toastmasters. I talked to one region advisor who was also single, and she's a lady. And she mentioned to me that one of the challenge when you rise up in an organization like this is because once you're on top, being district director, region advisor, international director, men tends to become intimidated by the position. So Mike, I just like to know. I mean, kudos to you. You were not intimidated that Anne was our district director. What was your mindset, and what is your message to the other guys who probably like someone, maybe our current club road director just now is single. So what do you what can you say to guys who probably are interested but is just afraid because their crushes, the girl, are in a high position right now, whether at work or in an organization like Toastmasters?
Okay, guys, you want your women succeeding in life. You want them top of the world. You want them succeeding in their career. You don't want them living an average life. And the more successful the woman is, I realized, the better it is for you men. And there's nothing wrong if the woman is really gaining headway compared to us men. That just happens. No? Take it as a challenge. Wala namang mali doon. You can always do something, get better at what you do. There's no competition. You shouldn't be competing. You should be complementing each other. Yeah, it does make me wonder, Richard, why some men wouldn't want that. No? But I guess part of the reason is probably male ego. That's probably the reason. Most men, or no, some men just can't accept the fact that women can dominate them in certain areas, and that's normal. Let me tell you this one. I completely admire Anne for and her organization, but more about her leadership on how she handled the situation, especially when the lockdown was declared. I really handled her poise. She beat me up big time, and then she came out to you talking like she's in control. But actually, I have to spend the week. No, she handled everything very well. But let me tell you this, you know where she's weak at? She's also strong at eating. Pero hindi siya marunong magluto. And that's where I know I can win. Okay? Magaling ka mang district director pag wala kang magaling magluto na asawa, gutom mga abutin yung pamilya. So doon ako. Doon ako.
Yeah, we'll be complimenting each other.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And I guess that's very true now in today's world. Gone are the days where women should be staying at home and guys should be the one bringing home the bacon. We're now in a more modern, more equal world when we share everything together. So we work together, we bring in the income together, we wash the clothes together, we cook together, we clean the house together. That's life. So very good message, Mike. I really like that. Don't be intimidated by the woman's success, but instead be proud. Next, we have Judy and Nino. Now, Nino, Judy also is someone who experienced broken heart here in Toastmasters. So she also dated a former Toastmaster. So it's a good thing that she agreed to date another Toastmaster. So Judy, why is that?
After the breakup, because I think some of you already know that I was about to get married, a couple of years ago, but it didn't work out. It didn't push through. It didn't work out with me and that Toastmaster. After that, I really just stayed at home. After work, I would just go home, and then friends would ask me, "Hey, you should go out and meet someone new." And then I said, "What for?" I mean, it was also the reason why I stopped praying and stopped going to church because of that kind of relationship, because of the breakup. And then when my friends, it was the time, I think it was months after that, that the group scammers here in Cebu, it's composed of various Toastmasters from different clubs. After that, we would go out every so often, and then it made me realize that life is short. Maybe there's somebody out there, but I was still cynic about relationships. I would always say walang forever. I was that bitter because I would not believe in what other guys would say and would tell me. Then I don't know. Richard has this convincing power. He really convinced me. You know what, Judy? You should take this. You should take this opportunity. And then, oh, ano na, ibubook ka na ni Ann ng ticket pa Bicol. So para I got pressure, and at the same time, I thought to myself, and I prayed because I haven't been praying for a long time, and I prayed that God, please just if it's for me, then it's for me. And I met him, then we got to know each other. Then I realized that it's again this time fully opened my heart. And also it was during that time that I realized and I cried really hard because Nino is the person or the guy that my family and friends has been praying for all this time. So I just asked God, sana same ng religion if possible, and then we could really understand each other. So I came from that heartbreak, but before that I was already okay, doing okay. Then I met him, and just an advice to all Toastmasters and friends out there, just try to check your pictures maybe during this con, because I just found out, I think hindi pa kami official doon. I found this picture during the fellowship night in Bay Hotel, this con of last year. I have this picture of me with past Division I Director Georgino Emilia and PDD Dulce Reynosa. And then in the background, one of the people in the background is Nino. So we really had a lot of chances to be to meet, and then at the discon I was at the registration table. I was one of the people manning the registration table, and we had a there I was in the background, but we didn't meet. So I think just to answer, aside from God's time, it's just really the right time. And for me, I just really took the risk because as IPDD Ann mentioned, life is short, and now life is shorter because of COVID. So there's no more time to waste. Once you know,
Okay.
then you already know. That's
Thank
it.
you, Judy. And we're down to our last 5 minutes. So I will call the two gentlemen who has not spoken the least. So next now I'm gonna ask Nino, and this is a time to make peace and make up. Okay, Nino, parting words. Aside from Judy being beautiful and aside from her eyes being sexy, what do you love most about Judy?
Okay, thank you for that question. What I love most about Judy is that she is difficult to handle. Not really in to an extent probably, but it's not, she's not the difficult. It's just that I have my own ways of handling her. What I love her about her actually is that, well, foremost it's about the fact that we have a common denominator. We're both Toastmasters, so we know we're both coming from. I think that's the main foundation, and which we can build from. That's where we met. That's how we met. And no one's perfect. Judy has her self contradictions. Okay, I'm Asa. This is my time, and she says this. Does sometimes I don't know if it's true with women in general, that women say one thing and do the opposite, or sometimes they they want this or they hate this, but they sometimes they hate what they're actually doing themselves. And what else? There's nothing else I can say. It's except that I'm looking forward to the day when we can finally be in each other's arms again, and go forth and multiply, because that's the main goal right now. And
Okay.
like I would, okay, I'm taking this time, okay, uh, and save the best for last. Yeah, like I would tell Judy, just be healthy all the time, so we can have kids the soonest. And my main principle in life is really being positive. Okay, no matter what conflicts, what problems arise, when you maintain a positive outlook, you can always overcome them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nino. And to Judy and Nino, I sincerely pray and hope that this pandemic will be over soon so that you guys can be together in Bicol soon in Legazpi. And we will be visiting you, I hope. If not for the wedding, then we'll be there for the binyag. Then, of course, we have our pastor with us, so I would like to give our pastor the parting words. Any message to our fellow Toastmasters who are finding love or still waiting for love, and what can you share to them, Nomel?
Alright, pastor talaga. Fellow Toastmasters, what we need to just understand and remember is that when we are willing to love, be ready to be hurt in the process. Because loving does not mean happiness all the time. Sometimes it would entail some heartaches along the way, perhaps because you were with the one that was not meant for you yet. But trust me, even if your hearts have been broken, and even if you have stopped believing in love, that's fine, that's all right. Because one day, without even seeking love, love will find you. And once love finds you, I can assure you, love will change everything. And since sabi ni Richard, pastor daw ako, then let's just quote that the Bible verse, diba? The definition of love. I think love is patient, love is kind, love is everything that you can actually describe it. It involves both happiness and heartaches. But if you are truly with the one that is meant for you, everything will just be fine because God has already blessed your relationship, and that would be for keeps. So do not seek love. Allow love to find its way to you. Because I'm sure, just like Didi Ann, Mike, Judy, and Nino, and Tisha and myself, I can assure you, you will know that it's the one that is meant for you once you are there. And you
Love
just
Thank
have
you.
you, Thank you, Nomel. Amen to that. Amen. Amen. So there you have it. Time's up. It's already 3 in as much as we'd like to extend this. So fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen who came in here, thank you. And thank you to all our love teams who are here this afternoon. Nomel, Tisha, Noti. We have Mike and Ann, MiAn, and Judy and Nino, JuNo. Thank you for sharing to us your experience, sharing to us your learnings, sharing love to our fellow Toastmasters who are still looking for love. And if there's one thing I would like to quote everybody as I end this program, there's a song by Boy Song that says, "Don't stop looking for love because it can be found in the strangest places. And who knows, just when you're giving up, along comes a miracle that's gonna drive your world around." So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And to all our 3 couples, congratulations. Looking forward to the wedding day. And stay in love.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dagang
Thank
salamat.
you.
Thank you.
Labang, snacks, walang food.
Picture, picture.
Walang photo.
Yeah, picture. Go picture. Nomel, pakistop sa live.
Bye
That's
everyone.
not in
Thank you for
recording.
watching.